Do we want to do an intro for this episode or not?
It's up to you.
I hate when it's up to me. I guess that's it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Subject Matter. I'm your host, Stephen Jenkins, here with your co-host, Mr. Jonathan Dayton. We are experts in nothing, here to give you our thoughts and opinions on all of it. Except for tonight, because we're doing something a little bit different. So this week and next week, we're going to be doing 2 episodes. It was originally going to be 1 episode, but through various reasons, we decided we're just going to go ahead and do a 2-part episode of Get to Know You. So the original idea was that we were going to just go back and forth and ask each other questions to get to know us, and then we decided, well, why don't we split it into 2 so that we don't take too much time for 1 episode, and then also that way the episodes can just be a little bit shorter, and we needed a second episode for next week anyway, because we got stuff Thanksgiving weekend, and quite frankly, we don't have time to record next week. So, shout out officially to Aiden Sensabaugh. He's going to get mad at me if I don't acknowledge that this was his idea.
This is his idea.
So this was his idea, because we have had, this is what, episode 39 now, I think?
Yeah.
So almost 40 episodes, and we haven't done an actual Get to Know You. I mean, I feel like watching it...
We have, but not officially.
Like the first episode a little bit. Kind of. And I'm sure
the episodes
you've gotten to know us a little bit, but so we'll see where it goes. Jonathan's seen a few of my questions that I'm going to ask him. I haven't seen any of his just from the way we did the file sharing and all that. But so Jonathan, what you got for me? I expect you to make these interesting.
Well, your very first one is, what's your favorite place on Earth?
Favorite place on Earth? Okay. Well, there's many places that I haven't been.
It's true.
So I can't say. So of the places I've been, I don't have an official ranking, because sometimes I just want to be in my apartment relaxing after a long day. But I can't say that's my favorite place on Earth. It's the place I spend most of my time.
Then what is your favorite place?
I'm thinking. I'm stalling while I think of an answer. Disney World is pretty sick.
Yeah.
I do love Disney World.
I do.
Honestly, when I was over, I went on a trip to Israel about almost 4 years ago now, and that was pretty awesome. It wasn't like super luxurious or anything, but there's just something about being someplace where they have things there that are literally 2,000 years old.
That's pretty cool,
and it's pretty cool. I'd say Disney World and in Israel are 2 sides of the same. They're just like, okay, what's the most fun place, and then what's the place where you just feel the most relaxed? And I'd say Israel's pretty cool for me.
Okay, fair enough.
Also, Friendship Village Campground in Bedford. That's just a random one to throw out, but that one has some pretty good memories.
Okay, they're gonna get progressively more deep as we continue our conversation. Right. What is your biggest regret in life?
Ooh, biggest regret in life. See, now, when you say regret, are we thinking things we could go back and change if we could, or...
Yeah, I would consider that a regret. Regret can be in multiple different forms.
So, things that I wish hadn't happened, but if I could go back and change it, I would, and there's things like that. Are you counting that?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so then I gotta decide. Because I thought about this myself, and I've determined that there's not really a specific time, not in a specific event that I'd go back and change something if I could. Maybe a few minor things here and there. For me, if I could actually start over from some point, I would just go back probably to the beginning of quarantine in 2020. And the specific reason for that, it's not one regret that I have. It's multiple months of regret that I have where, where you make decisions and you think this is going to be the best option. You learn later that wasn't the best option. Right?
I agree.
Quarantine hits. And I knew I wasn't doing as much as I could have been, making the most out of my free time at that point. I knew that I should have been doing things differently.
Okay.
But I just didn't.
Okay.
Because it was easier to not, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
I mean, I was sitting doing nothing all day, eating just junk food for lunch, breakfast, and dinner. Not in that order, obviously. Although sometimes in that order because of how messed up. It might have been in that order sometimes because of how messed up my sleep schedule was. I mean, there were days I was up till 5 and sleeping till 3. So, I mean, I know everybody was pretty messed up during quarantine, but that then had a pretty severe effect on the next 1.5 to 2 years of just my mental state. And if I personally think that if I would have made different decisions then and gotten myself on track then, as I feel like I have sort of now, I could have started that process 2 years earlier and be 2 years ahead of where I am now.
Fair enough. Hot take here. This is not really a you question, more of your opinion on the question. Were Ross and Rachel really on a break?
Yes, they were. Officially, they were. Would you like further explanation, or would you just like me to leave it at that?
No, that's good. That's good? Because I agree with you.
The one thing I will add, I'm not going to elaborate as much, I will say Ross was an idiot for what he did, but they were on a break, and quite frankly, I think Rachel might have done the same thing if she was in that position.
I agree. Would you rather live without internet for the rest of your life or without bathing for the rest of your life?
So much of what I do revolves around the internet.
I know. That's why I asked the question.
That's a good one. I can get a friend to help me do the things that I need to do that require internet.
Okay.
I can't get any friends if I haven't bathed in however many years. I'd also probably die a lot sooner from health issues if I hadn't bathed.
This is true. Do you have any mentors in life? No, I wouldn't say heroes or people you admire. Do you have any mentors?
Mentors.
That's a specific question because usually the answer is usually no. I would say for most people.
I mean, I've had many mentors over the years.
Over the years.
And I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, we were in karate.
Yeah.
Master Rick Rando was a huge influence in being a mentor, going up through the program, and then even as I started to get a little bit older, just different things, how to, do well in the interview and things like that. And that's all sort of built into the system, but he was always sort of a big influence. And then also just in terms of life, being a man and all that. I mean, my grandfather and my dad, are consistent mentors, if you will.
That's right.
And that's, I don't know if you call that a mentor specifically.
No, I know what you mean.
But I would certainly include them in that.
How many close friends is ideal to have?
You specified close friends.
I would say, yeah, and I don't know how I would differentiate between a friend and a close friend. I would say someone that you talk to routinely and a friend you talk to on occasion.
So the way I would define a close friend isn't necessarily by how much I talk to them.
Okay, that's fair.
Because you can see coworkers, and I haven't had coworkers in a while, but you can see coworkers on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean necessarily they're a close friend. The way I define close friend, at least for me, is how much I can fully relax and be myself around that person.
That's fair.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person, some people just need a lot of friends, and the more the merrier, and that's totally fine. The more you have more friends, you have the quantity, that's fine. For me, I only need a few close friends. As long as, I don't know, maybe it sounds selfish, but as long as they're loyal friends, and I'd say that I'm a very loyal friend myself. If I like you and I chat with you, we're going to be friends forever. You know what I mean? And having conversations like this, the deeper the conversation goes, the more likely that I am to build a friendship with you. So to give you an actual number, I mean, it varies on certain levels, but I would say a high of 10.
Okay.
For me.
Are you into podcasts?
Absolutely not.
Fair enough.
No, there's a few that I listen to. There's a couple. There was one that I actually started recently listening to, but I realized it's on hiatus now. So once I learned that there aren't going to be any new episodes to listen to, I kind of stopped listening to it a little bit. But they recommended a few other ones that I sort of want to get in on, usually revolving around movies and just different fun things that I enjoy.
Favorite sport, and I know you're not necessarily a sport person. I mean, karate is technically a sport, martial arts is, but in general, if I was going to take martial arts out of the picture, your traditional sports.
That's funny because I was going to say, and this is actually one of the questions I'll have for you next week. If I was going to take that out of the equation, because this past weekend I actually, one of my friends sat down and they were watching the UFC fight that was on the other night, and I really enjoyed it. I actually thought, I don't really watch sports, but like I could see myself actually getting into this a little bit more.
Yes.
But not that, because that's still technically martial arts of sorts.
This is true.
I would say, I mean, last year, for my job, I helped live stream a few football games.
Okay.
And I've tried to get into football over the years. I've tried to understand the fun around it and everything. And I don't still completely get it, but that did, just being in that environment. It was a high school football game, but it was still like, okay, I get the excitement, being here with crowds of people rooting for a team. Like, I kind of get that. If there's one sport I wish I could get into, it would be football, because I think that's probably the biggest one. If not that, then honestly, hockey is kind of cool. Ice hockey, specifically, is kind of cool. I could see myself becoming more interested in that.
If you had to go back in time, what year would you go back to?
Specifically, you can't ask me a science fiction question without me asking clarifying questions.
Fair enough. Go.
I go back in time. Do I change things when I'm back in time, or is it a causal loop where it always happened?
I would say it's a causal loop where it always happened.
Okay, so I can't really affect anything in
No.
the future. Good question. Okay. Gosh. I would say the one I would want to go to is like the 1980s. Don't know why. I've always wanted to go back to the 80s because a lot of my favorite things in pop culture came around in the 80s. So I'd like to be there for the invention of that. However, I think realistically speaking, I would probably, just because I'm a Christian, I'd probably go back 2,000 years to Israel.
That's cool.
And
that's a good answer.
be there while Jesus was there walking around. Like, that would be... Now, I wouldn't know the language and I don't know the logistics of all that, but just get to see it. If I could just be a passive observer but still in person, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Favorite superhero?
Dang you. I'm going to get hate for this. You know my answer.
Probably. But
My favorite superhero, and I'll fight anybody to the death that disagrees that this is a superhero. Super Mario is my favorite superhero.
yeah, I was waiting for that answer.
I won't hear any questions. I won't hear any debate. Favorite superhero?
iPhone or Android?
Android, because
Why?
customization, and I don't like being in a phone cult. That's all I'm going to say about that.
If there were extra hours in a day, what would you give that extra time to?
Realistically, I would say that I'm going to give them to personal projects and work, but I'd probably just scroll YouTube later in the evening than I normally do. So.
No, I appreciate that. What's your love language?
Love words of affirmation.
Okay. What's your favorite sandwich and why?
Favorite sandwich. We've had this discussion before. Do we count a sub as a sandwich in this scenario?
Yes.
I love a good buffalo chicken sub.
Okay.
If it's just a plain old sandwich, I like a good turkey BLT.
Okay. Who inspires you the most?
Inspires me the most. I don't have one specific answer for this. I honestly don't, because there's so many different people that inspire me for different things.
Okay.
I mean, my family, a lot of people, like I mentioned, my dad and my grandpa the other day, they inspire me to be a better man. There are even just certain celebrities that it's like, wow, you really made a name for yourself doing this. Look where you came from. Look at the obstacles you've overcome. And I think that there are people that inspire me in different areas like that.
Okay. If you are in a relationship with someone, can someone in that relationship have a best friend of the opposite sex?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd have to see how their relationship is, because
That's fair.
sometimes it's a little sus. But
Sus.
you know, look, trust is in my opinion, trust is earned. If this is somebody that I've just met, trust is earned, and you know, and that goes both ways. They got to learn to trust me. I got to learn to trust them, and if we can manage that, then there's no issue.
How do you deal with stress?
The way I deal with stress depends on what I'm stressed out about. But if I'm stressed, I will usually try to get rid of whatever's causing me stress immediately.
Okay.
If it's something that I can't get rid of, I will try to sit down and forget about it, but I'll most likely just sit there in silence for however long it takes to get rid of it.
What are your favorite parts about your own personality?
My favorite parts about my own personality, I think, and I know not a lot of people, I think I'm easy to get along with. And you gotta be, if you're nice to me, I'm nice to you.
Okay.
I am a person who, the more you get to know me, the more, like, whatever impression, I think I've said this on the podcast before, maybe not. Whatever your first impression of me is, there's probably a lot more to it than that.
Okay.
I would say. I can be funny, but I also like to think that when the time comes for things to be serious, I have the ability to go to serious mode, give good advice, make the right decisions, that type of thing.
Okay. Personal relationship question.
Mm-hmm.
This is more for, I would say it's more geared towards a female, but I think this is important to ask the guys too. How much money would you spend on an engagement ring? And then also, how much money should be the cap for a wedding?
So I honestly don't know what the average price for a decent wedding ring is. Obviously, it depends on my financial situation at the time.
That's fair.
It also depends on the girl, because not every girl needs something super flashy. But if
True. Good answer.
But if they do, you know, it's a wedding ring. I want to make sure that they get something that's going to matter to them.
Couple more questions before we finish out. What's your most memorable family event?
Most memorable family. Ooh. Oh goodness. This is
a lot of memories there.
There's a lot of memories. If you're talking extended family wise, I would say anytime we've gone on vacation together, it's just fun. Because we'll go with like my grandparents and my aunts and uncles, and you know, this past August we went and they brought their kids, and it's just, I don't know, it's just fun doing things with a big group like that.
Okay, 3 questions remaining for you. Question 1, what's your long-term goal, or goals, but what's your largest long-term goal?
Largest long-term goal simply is I have a lot of stories to tell, fictional stories specifically, that I have in my brain that I would like to tell. As of now, the ultimate goal would be telling those stories through the film medium. I would prefer that if life takes me in a different direction and it ends up being in a different medium, or if those stories don't get told, okay, but as of right now, that's where I want to go.
If you had 3 wishes in life, what would you wish for? And it can't be more wishes.
Can't be more wishes. Good. The first thing I would wish for is I would say I would like to know, I wish that I will know the best way to use my other 2 wishes.
Okay.
Because I'm going to find that loophole. And then whatever those other 2 wishes are, I would say, there you go. Because I think you got to use your first wish to your advantage. The first wish is the one that's going to set you up for everything else. And if I know then what those other 2 wishes are going to be, even if I can't wish for more, then I think that's the best way to do it.
Okay, that's a good answer. I was hoping you would elaborate a little bit more. So I can.
Would you like me to elaborate more?
No, I just wanted to find this last good question.
I mean, realistically speaking, I mean, obviously wishing for money is going to be very financially beneficial. the reason I say I wouldn't necessarily go directly towards that is just because, just because I have, let's say I wish for infinite money, that also then means I'm going to appreciate money less, and I don't necessarily want to become someone who's obsessed with having everything, because money doesn't equal happiness. Using money can, sort of pave a way and maybe help you get there if you use it correctly. But I think I would more wish in the knowledge category of, even if I couldn't wish for what to wish for, I would say, give me a great business sense on how to handle money. Give me some really good wisdom as far as what to do in certain social situations. What is the path I need to take for some of those things?
Okay, fair enough. Okay, last question for you. Do you most often follow your heart, or do you follow your head? And if you do choose one, and you're going to choose one, would you rather follow the opposite?
I think the two are very closely related.
I agree, but there's a difference.
There is a difference. I can't choose just one, because in day-to-day stuff, I follow my head. What am I going to eat how am I going to spend my day? That's really your head, because that's a logical decision. What's going to be the best course of my time? This is the way I'll put it. I'll say heart. I'll say that heart is my answer. However, I will still then analyze the heart answer with my head and make sure that it's not completely illogical.
Do you play devil's advocate often?
Extremely. Yes. Yes. Only slightly. No, I play devil's advocate because, quite frankly, the reason I play devil's advocate for people and things is because I try to see. I don't believe personally, this is an unpopular opinion in today's society, I don't personally believe that people are inherently good. For me personally, no, I think left to our own tendencies, humans are going to do some pretty nasty things. But I still try to see the good in everybody. And when I play devil's advocate for people, I'm not trying to say that there's not bad there. I'm not even trying to say, well, there's not 90% bad there. I'm saying you're still ignoring the 10% there that's good. And if we work to increase that 10%, we're going to get a much better result than if we're trying to just get rid of the bad.
Agreed.
And I also hope then that if I have some bad in me and I do some dumb things, that then people will play devil's advocate for me and try to go about it the same way that I would with somebody else.
I agree. Well, Stephen, it's nice getting to know you. It's also nice to get to know you on a different level, because I think that everyone knows our families, a little bit about our history. Of course, who we are, what colleges we went to, but this was good to know.
A little more deep stuff.
Deep stuff is good. I think deep stuff, is great conversation. I'd rather, for the viewers that don't know, when we do go on trips, you and I, or with our friend group, it's the close friend group, we always talk about these questions, and it's always an interesting conversation, because I think it's...
These types of questions, we get a lot different types of questions often then too, but I always enjoy deep conversations, so...
That's all I have for you.
Yeah, that's all right. So, we are going to, right after this, we're going to film the next episode. But for those watching this episode currently on Saturday before Thanksgiving, thank you for watching. Let us know down in the comment section how terrible you think all my answers were. And if you agree with any of them, let me know. If you have any different takes on certain things, hot takes, I will not be hearing any arguments. In fact, I might delete comments that say Super Mario is not a superhero. I love Spider-Man, and I love Iron Man, I love Captain America. But, Super Mario is the guy. So, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of good stuff. We don't have anything for them to do to the notification bell, but still do something to it.
Okay.
If you comment what to do to the notification bell, we'll pin the comment, and we'll say it in the next episode. Not the next episode, because we're recording that one right after that, but we'll say it in the next episode, so... As always, we don't have an outro. Stay tuned next week for Jonathan's Get to Know You episode, and we'll see you later.